Okay. Hello, everyone. We are How Water Flows Through a Plant, and we are creating a video to explain how avocado plants work. I'm Joseph.
My name is Melissa.
And I'm Sandra. Okay, so for our purpose, basically the purpose of our sub-theme is to create a video that explains how the Aguacara water treatment plants work. So in order to depict the flow of water, we've been utilizing real images, CAD models, and simplified representations in order to really depict it. And the purpose is so this can be shown to new members of the universities or potential partners, just to make the process a little more clear and to help other people understand it. So the figure on the right is a cross-section of the CAD model of the flocculator, which is used to visualize the flow through the plant.
Next, we have video progress updates. So if you saw our symposium, you know that we had finished the introduction first draft by then. We've gotten a bit more completed since then. So for the introduction, we've gotten a couple of rounds of feedback regarding the aesthetics and how we explain things. So we've made a couple of updates and made a couple of versions since then. So that's almost finalized. And then in terms of the entrance tank, we're on the second version right now, addressing feedback that we got from some volunteers on the team. So thanks for that if you were part of that. And then for the flocculation and sedimentation sections, we have the version 1 pretty much completed. We just need one animation for each to finish that. And then we'll be sending that out for more feedback so that we can edit it and revise it and make it better. And then for filtration, we're just now starting on that. So we're working on version 1 at the moment. And same with chlorination, we haven't started that. So that'll be next on the task list. And finally, the conclusion, we made that earlier in the semester. So we made version 1 and got feedback from internally through the team. And we'll be sending it out to members outside of the sub-team later for feedback.
Okay, so based on our progress updates, we still have a little bit of current tasks that we have to do. So overall, we have to finalize animations and editing and obtain feedback to tweak our animations and video editing. So with our animations, we have to finish the flocculation, sedimentation tank, and chlorination. And with editing, we have to finish filtration and get more feedback for the conclusion.
So for sedimentation, if you watch the symposium, we basically continued to use Synfig Studio for some of the animations for this project, and specifically for the sedimentation animations. And as I said last time, we've been following a pretty similar process for each of these, which basically consists of finding a good background image and then animating on top of it. So I'll get these images either from the Aguacara textbook, the Google Drive, or Onshape. So in these examples I have here, I took an image of plate settlers from Onshape and positioned the design in the way that I wanted it, and then I screenshot it, and then I animated on top of it. So first example, figure 2, is depicting how flocks flow up the plate settlers, then start to get stuck, and ultimately fall to the bottom as more and more flocks will accumulate. And then the second example, which is figure 3, shows what would happen if there was a horizontal component to the diffusers and how the flocks would respond. So in that case, the flocks would go through a widespread circulation and go completely around the oval-shaped pipes there, and instead of just going all up through the plate settlers. And the reference for that is on slide A2.
Okay, so for the filtration and flocculation animations, we combined the use of Blender and Adobe After Effects. And with the filtration animations, we made animations for constriction, water flow, backwash, and the control blocks. And figure 4 shows an example where the flow of water is shown between sand particles, and it shows a constriction due to the flocks. And before this animation, an animation showing the buildup of flocks is shown, and this animation is shown after. So with the flocculation, we animated the formation of flocks as well as the flow through the flocculator, which you saw in the second slide. And figure 5 shows the example of the formation of flocks. So the circle around large clumps of flocks is shown, and you can easily follow it.
In terms of video editing, one of the things that we worked on a lot was the entrance tank. We talked about this as a team for how to explain things like the chemical dose controller, which is quite complex. So you can see this animation at the right. Figure 6 is an animation of the chemical dose controller that Joseph made. And you can see, for example, we show chemical flow rate, plant flow rate, and chemical dose as 3 dials, which is like a simple visualization of what we're trying to show with, instead of showing like complicated math. And we were talking a lot about this animation and how to make it as digestible as possible, especially for someone who has never heard about the CDC before or learned about it. And we also wanted to make sure to include all the information and not leave things out that were important about the CDC, which was pretty hard because there's a lot of components that go into understanding it. So then we were also talking about timing and making sure that this was on the screen for long enough for people to be able to take it in. That was one of the pieces of feedback we got, that it wasn't on the screen for long enough. And so that was one thing that we changed. And then also matching it with the audio. So making sure that it went along with what the narrator was saying was also really important. And then in terms of sedimentation, this was another section that we've been spending a lot of time on. Sedimentation had the big challenge of being really stuff that happens underwater, and that's really challenging because we don't have a lot of media. And also the media that we do have is switching a lot between lab and plant scales. So in the actual Agua Clara plants, it's really hard to get good images of, for example, a flock blanket or other things that are happening under the water, like what you can see in figure 7 at the bottom of the sedimentation tank, like the flow of water at the jet reverser. So we had to switch between lab and plant scales for different visualizations and graphics in the video, and just making sure that the shift was clear and it was clear what we were showing at every step of the way was really important, because it's really hard. I know, like, as someone who was in Agua Clara as a new member and who got really confused when switching between the scales, I try to keep that in mind and make sure that this was clear.
So for future tasks, we have a few more animations and video edits to do, specifically some more for chlorination. We'd need to choose some pictures and media for that category. And our ultimate goal is to finish by the end of the semester, and we're looking like we're pretty much there. We'll probably be able to finish soon, as we already completed most of the tasks that we set out to do. So I think we're pretty well on track for that. Going to continue receiving feedback from the sub team and the rest of the team as well, and improve off of that. So right now we need feedback for everything but the introduction, which is pretty much finalized. And then lastly, most importantly, send and show it to as many people as possible. Just get the word out more and help clear up any confusion about the Agua Clara plants. And then figure 8, that's us, the best sub team, spelling out HWF for how water flows.
Thank you, and let us know if you have any questions or recommendations.